Joining us here at the table right now is national columnist for the Washington Post, Philip Bump. Philip has a new piece out that examines who in the political world was able to maintain the public's attention the most. Philip, thanks for being here. I'm going to hazard a wild guess.
Sure.
That Donald Trump is on this list.
It's amazing. It's like the foresight. Is brilliant. Yeah, Donald Trump is near the top. I looked at two things. I looked at appearances on television, and not necessarily appearances, but mentions of people, because that's what we tend to track, and Google search interest. And Donald Trump was near or at the top on both of those pretty much throughout the entire year.
Jockeying back and forth. The top? Okay.
No, not always. Joe Biden was sort of jockeying back and forth with Trump. Sometimes he'd be above him, sometimes below him. One thing that was interesting was once we got to election season, Trump still stayed at the top, but Biden sort of went down underneath people like John Fetterman in Pennsylvania, things like that, in part because there's so much tension on Donald Trump's impact on the election, which Joe Biden didn't have.
So we've heard a lot of talk about this past year. Trump's grip on the GOP may have slipped in recent months. There's been speculation that the challenger in waiting may be Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida. Where did he fare on your tracking?
Really not as high as I would have expected. When you think about it, you sort of expect Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis potentially to be somewhat neck and neck, right? They're given the way that the polls are shaping up. But that really wasn't the case. Donald Trump really commands a lot more attention than does Ron DeSantis. DeSantis saw a little bump around election period as well, because obviously he did so well in his reelection bid. But beyond that, Donald Trump still remains at the pack in terms of attention seeking and obtaining in the Republican Party.
So just to stick with that, Phil, you think about a midterm election cycle like this, a bunch of new candidates, new faces, and as you point out, for periods of time, there was more traffic and more interest in candidates than there was even in the sitting president of the United States. So, like, by judging that October, November timeframe, who are the breakout stars in terms of conversational traffic from the midterms that we should be paying attention to in Congress now?
It's a good question, and part of the challenge is that you can break out and then vanish, right? And so the question is, Kari Lake emerged when she won her primary, and then when she lost her gubernatorial bid, does she have staying power, right? And it's sort of hard to gauge at this point. So we saw Kari Lake, for example. We saw John Fetterman receive a lot of attention, but of course that also was a function of his close race, and all the attention was paid to it. It's hard to sort of see into the future. Jonathan obviously is very good at this, as we just learned. But it's sort of hard to know what's going to happen from there. And we also saw a lot of people who sort of spiked, like Cassidy Hutchinson with her January 6th testimony, and then fade. And I don't think she's going to be sticking around as an example.
Yeah, I didn't mean to suggest it was predictive, but I meant if you think about midterm, a lot of candidates who run for office, they never break through. Right. And so a candidate like Fetterman at least has demonstrated the capacity to generate a ton of traffic. Now, whether he capitalized that or not is another question. Right. Tell me about Elon Musk, someone who was Times Man of the Year last year. Right. And gets a ton of attention in certain quarters, but it's hard for me to tell whether he gets a lot of attention outside of Twitter, where he gets obviously a ton of attention. What's the broader conversational traffic like on him?
Now, you raise an interesting point, which is that celebrity obviously is a factor here. That's why Donald Trump tends to do very well, is because he has long been a celebrity. So when you look at television, right, and we look at cable news coverage of people, Elon Musk, really not that much. When he first announced his bid to buy Twitter, yes, he got a lot of attention. When he actually took over the platform, yes, got a lot of attention. On search, consistently very, very high, because he's a well-known figure. A lot of people have a lot of interest in him for reasons beyond just politics. Why anyone would do that, I don't know.
Tesla.
Right? No, sure. I just mean generally. But so he and, for example, Kanye West, a lot of search interest, not as much interest on cable news coverage.
Yeah.
Who surprised you by popping through and breaking through on this list that you just wouldn't have expected to command that much attention?
I was surprised how much attention Marjorie Taylor Greene, the representative from Georgia, gets. She gets a lot of attention, which it's one of those things when you see it and you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. And you're like, of course, now I understand that. I was also sort of surprised Madison Cawthorn, who has long been, sort of talked about in that same sense. As soon as he lost his primary, that was it. He was gone. Like, people paid very little attention to him. People talked about him very little as well, which I think is, to the point of, any predictiveness, I think is suggestive.
So let's go the other way. Was there a name that you thought would do well, but really didn't, who didn't break through in any way, despite perhaps being a center of attention in certain quarters?
I mean, DeSantis is the one that really stuck out there. And it's early. He hasn't declared for president yet. We're presuming he will, so that may change. But yeah, I mean, I took about 30 people. My goal really was to figure out in each week who was the political world fascinated by, and what I learned is they were mostly just fascinated by Donald Trump and Joe Biden, so it wasn't that instructive. So yeah, I mean, DeSantis absolutely someone who I think probably will get a lot more attention over the short term.
Is there a flicker for anybody else? I mean, Kari Lake obviously is a kind of it's a special case in some ways, given she got a lot of attention, and now she, seems like because she's lost, she's going to start to fade. Are there flickers for any other Republicans where you at least see a little bit of a kind of a spark, someone that might grow into something among Republican potential next generation Trumps?
Not really. I had into the mix. In the actual piece itself, I limited it to about 30 people. I had in the mix people like Nikki Haley and Mike Pence and so on and so forth. Just really not a lot of attention. And, I tend to look at the Fox News as being a good indicator of where the Republican Party is looking. And it really is just, even compared to Trump, DeSantis doesn't even get that much on Fox News, right? And so there were little hits for like Mehmet Oz and so on and so forth as the election season was going on Fox. But beyond that, no, not really.
So Mike Pence, not a magnet for conversation?
Hard to believe. No.
So let's move away from the list for a minute, though. And Trump, for all of his weaknesses that have been exposed at the end of the year, still does have this ability to command attention. So talk to us a little bit about, what's your sense of how hard will it be for other Republicans to break through and turn that into votes, too?
Look, it all depends on what Trump decides to do, obviously, but there's never been a time from the time that the guy, even before he decided to get into politics, obviously Trump has always generated an enormous amount of interest. It's not a coincidence that part of the reason he became president of the United States was because of his ability to be a huge television star on The Apprentice for years before. He's outrageous. He's colorful. People hate watch him. People mock him. Even people who like him mock him. Even people who love him. Even people who like him mock him. And even people who mock him sort of kind of like to watch him, even as they kind of make fun of him. He's a giant figure. And, the question of whether now that the losing, that big giant L that's on his forehead now, whether that, for a guy who I'm a winner has been his brand for a long time, whether that losing starts to diminish him as a cultural force. Again, I don't want to make predictions about it, but as long as Trump is out there and can continue to be a magnet more than anyone else, the basic takeaway from Phil's thing is no one else is like Trump when it comes to his sustainability to be at the very top of the attention heap. If that continues, it's going to be very hard for anybody to go up against Trump, I would say, because that is just the coin of the realm in our politics now.
But I do think it's a question of, is he getting attention for unforced errors? Because he's made some pretty big unforced errors, such as attacking Ron DeSantis in the run-up in the midterms. He had dinner with Kanye. He's been getting he always gets negative attention, but these are things Republican voters don't like Donald Trump attacking Ron DeSantis.
I remember exactly, I was all saying that when he attacked John McCain back in at the very beginning of his presidential campaign. Oh my God, you can't survive that.
It's also worth noting that Fox's coverage is very different from other coverage as well. So like Cassidy Hutchinson, they didn't cover as much because it didn't reflect positively on the things they wanted to reflect positively.
Last quick one. Sure. Other than President Biden, are there any other Democrats who had any kind of year that broke through?
It's a great question. And as I'm sitting here thinking, no one really jumps out
Biden and
at
Fetterman.
me. Yeah, Fetterman, again, because of the election, and Joe Biden, no. Like Kamala Harris doesn't attract a lot of attention. But, that's the nature of Biden and the Democrats, right? They're just sort of like the entire vibe of the party right now is keep your head down, let's try and get through this thing and survive.
And I think certainly the chatter about those potentially challenging Biden has quieted, considering the good year that he had, the Democrats showing.
Yeah, like even Gavin Newsom doesn't get a whole lot of attention.
Right. All right, fascinating stuff. The Washington Post's Philip Bump, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's